So today, for Self-Care Sunday, I really wanted it to be different, and I realized that I have been promoting this book that I wrote, and I've shared little tidbits, but I haven't shared like why I wrote this book, or this reflective journal rather. And so I wanted the opportunity to be able to have that moment and bring more light to why I wrote this book. And if I have to give, or had to give, the conversation that I'm going to have today, or the video a topic. I don't know why I'm all over the place. If I had to give the video a topic today, I think that I would name it Finding Yourself. So Letters to the Queen's Soul is a reflective journal, and it is something that I wrote in probably one of the most transformational periods of my life. If I'm thinking back to 4 years ago, I was just graduating from grad school. I was moving back to my hometown, or my second hometown, looking to get into my career, really starting to figure out what I was going to do in this world, and that was exciting for me. And with that also came a relationship. And so I, have always been the type of person where if you saw me, I had a boyfriend, period. Like, it did not matter. And it took a long time for me to realize that that's who I was, which is weird because I felt like I should have known it. And people would say it to me all the time, girl, you always had a boyfriend. I just laughed up, ha ha ha, I don't. But, being in that mentality of always having to have somebody really takes a toll on you as an individual, or in my case, as a woman. I was always finding myself living up to these different identities based on who I was with at the time, and that's not to blame them at all. And I don't want this to be a video where it seems like I'm bashing anyone, because I don't, and I'm not bashing anybody, and I don't have any desire to do that. But I would find myself trying to live up to these identities that I had no ability to live up to in the first place because it wasn't me. And as a person, I am a pleaser. I love for people to be happy. I hate to disappoint anyone. And so a lot of the times in, those different relationships, that's what I was doing. And the more I did that, the less I knew who Tiana was. And to be honest, it wasn't probably until this past year and some change that I really learned who I was. Because after I got out of my last relationship, I promised myself that I would spend time with myself, and I would dedicate time getting to know myself, because at that point I had no idea who self was. I had no idea who Tiana was. People who know me, they know characteristics of who I am, but when it boiled down to it, I still didn't know who I was, and I wasn't happy with that. And so that's where the book came in. I had already been writing, like I said, for over the past 4 years. Writing has always been something that I enjoyed. I used to write poetry all the time. In grade school, it was really something that I liked doing, and so it's just something that I've continued over the years. It's a huge coping skill for me, And so as I was going through this transformational time in my life, I just wrote. Sometimes I wrote every day, sometimes I wrote multiple times a day. Um, and if I would have thought about it, I would have brought my notebook. I have just a journal where I just wrote stuff, and that's where the Dear Self letters came from in this book, is the conversations that I had to have with myself to get to know myself. And getting to know yourself is not by any means an easy thing to do. Like, it's not at all. The place I'm in now, I would have been in here 2 years in April. This April coming up. And so being here by myself and being forced to sit in myself and become aware of the toxic habits that I had, the attitude that I built up, the anger that I built up, resentment, just all these different things, and not just even about a relationship. My first relationship started, and I don't want to say relationship because that sounds weird, but my first ever interaction with a man started with my dad. And for those of you who know me, I don't have an active relationship with him, and I never really had that growing up. And so, I just found myself in this place where you're giving to everybody else but yourself. You are living up to everybody's expectations but your own. You are investing your time in things that don't make you happy. You are staying in relationships for the sake of not being alone. And that had to stop because I wasn't happy with it. I was sick of being upset all the time. I was sick of trying to defend myself of, this is who I am. And at the end of the day, I should have never had to do that. And so me writing really helped bring me through, because I experienced some very, and I'm trying not to cry talking about this, but some very dark times in the midst of getting to know myself and learning myself and being okay about who I was as a person. That took a lot for me. So I decided that, hey, I always wanted to write a book anyway. Getting to know myself, writing these letters, journaling, reflecting on the things that I had to reflect on really helped me. And I felt like it was the opportunity to help someone else too, which is why I wrote the book, or published the book rather, and which is why I named the book Letters to the Queen Soul, The Journey to Queendom, because the absolute purpose of this book is to allow women the opportunity to speak in their truth, to allow them to be 110% authentically them, to learn what makes them tick, to learn what makes them happy, to learn what they're scared about, to learn what causes them anxiety, to learn, what causes them to compare themselves to another queen. There's just a few things to name, because I think, or I know rather, that we all deserve happiness in this world. We all deserve to be who God intended us to be. And I know He did not intend for us to be broke or hurt, or in a place where we're not happy with who He made us to be. I just believe that wholeheartedly in my heart, and so that's why I've been pushing this book so much. I just want to share this with the world, and I want to heal or help heal one heart at a time. Because I know as women, we are all things to all people all the time. And sometimes being that means that we're not all things to ourselves. And that's who deserves your attention first. And so please, please, please get my book. I will leave a link below. This is on my YouTube channel. For other places that I'm posting, I will post a link attached with the video. But I really just wanted to give more insight about why I wrote this book, and I really appreciate y'all for being here and listening. For those of you who have already ordered the book, thank you so much. Y'all don't understand how much that has touched my heart, and I have just been an emotional wreck over the past 2 weeks with this, but it's really touched my heart to know that y'all support me and y'all, care enough about my work to support that. And so thank you. And to all my future buyers, I really hope you love it. I really hope you enjoy it. I really hope that you are able to have the opportunity to just be with yourself and to be aware of who you are and the greatness that that holds. Because, yeah, I'm a strong advocate for that. Be yourself. Be authentically yourself. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. Because if you also know me, you know I'm a rebel at heart. Rebel with or without a cause. Sometimes it does not matter. But I'm all for, stand up for your rights. Be who you going to be, period. Point blank, period. Anyway, so y'all have a good Sunday. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm done. I'm gonna get off of here now because I feel like I'm just rambling and y'all sat here long enough watching me. So y'all have a good Sunday and I will see y'all next week.